If you're getting listings and not using them to get your next listing, you're leaving your biggest lead generation tool sitting untouched. One listing should always lead to more listings, always. And if that is not happening for you right now, I'm going to show you exactly why and exactly how to fix it. And a quick note before we dive in, if you want to build a listing-based business that generates consistent, predictable GCI without relying on your brokerage to hand you leads, book a free call with me. The link is in the description below, or DM me the word listings at PK Residential on Instagram or Facebook. Most agents treat every listing like it's a one-time event. You get the listing, you sell it, you turn over the rock, and you move on to finding the next one from scratch. And that cycle is exhausting because you're always starting over. You never build momentum in a neighborhood, and you never become the name people automatically say when someone asks, "Do you know a good agent around here?" So here's what nobody tells you. Your listing is not just a transaction. It's a marketing campaign. It is a trust builder. It's a neighborhood billboard that you get to utilize, that you have your face on, that you get to represent. And if you're not treating it that way, you're working 5 times harder than you need to. And I want you to shift how you think about every single listing now that you've watched this video, so that moving forward, you can create momentum. And the moment you sign that listing agreement, the clock starts. Not on the sale, but on the marketing opportunity. Every neighbor who drives by your sign is a potential future seller. And every person who walks through the door at your open house is a new lead. Every just sold postcard you send out is a trust signal to a homeowner who's watching the market and thinking about their own home. This is the flywheel. So one listing done right plants seeds for 5 more future listings. And those 5 seeds for 20. And it just duplicates from there. But it only works if you're intentional about every single step. So let me walk you through. Step 1 is the just listed campaign. This is before it even goes live. So write this down. The moment you sign that listing agreement, you start marketing. Do not wait for the MLS listing go live. Do it within the parameters that are legal, of course. But here is what a just listed campaign looks like. Send a postcard or a mailer to every home within a half-mile radius. Keep it simple, something like, hey, a home in your neighborhood just listed at 123 Main Street. Want to see what your home could be worth? That single line will generate calls. And then it's up to you to field those calls, build rapport, invite yourself over, and value their property so that they know moving forward, you're the go-to expert and you know how to property value a home, and you're going to show proof because you'll sell the neighbor's property. So post on Instagram and Facebook immediately before the listing hits the MLS. Tease it. Say, hey, got a new listing dropping coming soon. Say the neighborhood. Keep it again within the parameters of what's legal, but utilize it as much as you can to be marketing as soon as you get the listing. This will generate buzz and it creates FOMO. Everybody loves off-market opportunity. And if you have that in your pocket and you do that with every single listing, you look like the go-to expert for opportunities that might not be available to the open market. Then you're going to email your entire database, every single person. Some of them know people who want to live in that area, or people who want to move to that area. So make sure that your database knows about it. And it's not just to sell that property, it's for them to see you out there doing business, representing a property well. You have great photos, great video, and they're going to think of you when they need to go sell their home or when their neighbor needs to sell their home. And then before the sign goes up, people in that neighborhood should already know you have a listing there. This is how you start winning before the competition even knows the home is available. And then step 2 is the open house strategy that generates neighbor leads. Your open house is not just for buyers. This is critical, as you've seen in my videos in the past. Neighbors will always come to open houses and they'll walk in and say, oh, I'm just a nosy neighbor. Oh, don't worry, I'm just a neighbor. You don't have to talk to me. They want to see the inside of the home and they're curious about the price because they want to compare it to theirs. They might say, oh, I'm looking for ideas for a remodel, or whatever it is that they say that makes them feel comfortable as to why they're walking in their neighbor's house. They're going to share it with you, but keep in mind they're comparing this home, your listing, to their home. So when a neighbor walks in, your job is not to qualify them as a buyer. Your job is to make them feel valued, ask smart questions, and plant a seed for a future conversation. So you can say something like, hey, how long have you lived in the neighborhood? Do you love it here? What don't you like about it? And then just listen. Let them talk. They're going to tell you all the stories over the years that they've been here and what's going on with the neighbor down the street and who's moving in the neighborhood. And then you're going to say, hey, do you know if any of your neighbors have been thinking about selling? And that's where they're going to open up and they're going to start sharing and oversharing. And you're going to take note of this information. And you're going to say, hey, I work this area pretty heavily and I'd love to connect them with the right buyers. This property may not be the right fit for the buyers that come through. So if there's anybody that you know, I would love to have a pocket listing so that I could share it with them in case they're not interested in this particular home due to the floor plan or there's no pool or whatever the case is. So you just open the door without being pushy. You collected a name and a number for a future meeting, and because you didn't ask them outright, hey, do you have any interest in selling your home? That sounds pushy, that sounds salesy. Instead, you're diverting it to, hey, do you know any neighbors in the neighborhood who want to sell? And from there, you want to get their contact info, work to invite yourself over to their home, offer to provide them a value estimate, and, potentially if they want to accept or field an offer from many of the buyers that come through this listing, you'll keep them informed on what's going on with your listing and how many offers you end up, what price you ended up selling at, type of demographic that was looking to move into the neighborhood, so that you're providing value that they couldn't get elsewhere because you're now the neighborhood expert, because you had the listing, you saw the demand and the market activity that you can share with that neighbor who will potentially be a seller in the future. And then step 3 is the just sold campaign. This is the most underused tool. So you're gonna do, when the listing sells, most agents just celebrate, move on. They might do a just sold post on their social media, but the just sold postcard is the most powerful marketing that you can make in a neighborhood, and almost nobody does it right. So when it sells, you're gonna send a postcard to the same radius that you mailed before when it went just listed. You're gonna say, hey, your neighbor's home at 123 Main Street just sold in 6 days at whatever the price it was. Thinking about what your home could be worth right now? Well, great, let's talk. So that's gonna be your postcard. That is a hyper specific, super relevant message to people who literally live next door to a home that just sold. They're thinking about their value. They may have came by the open house. Your job is to be the one that they call. So do not sleep on the just sold campaign. And step 4 is your direct neighbor outreach after the sale. And this one takes guts, but it's worth it every time. After you close, knock on 10 to 20 doors closest to the listing. Introduce yourself. You're gonna say, hey, I'm Payton Chavis. I just sold the home down the street at 123 Main Street. I wanted to introduce myself. Your neighborhood is very active right now. We had tons of buyers at the open house. I know there's a strong demand because there's no other homes in the neighborhood. Do you know anyone that's thinking about moving? Are you curious what your home might be worth? I do have buyers that home didn't actually match exactly what they're looking for, but I know they want to be in the neighborhood. Would you be open to entertaining an offer if somebody was interested? If they say, oh no, not right now. Oh, well, when would you be open to an offer? Oh, when my kid graduates high school. Oh, that's amazing. Well, congratulations. When is he graduating? Okay, in 2 years. Okay, great. That's not a dead lead. That's a lead to follow up with over every 6 months for the next 2 years until that time comes, right? So you can utilize that script. You can also bring a little note card that says welcome home. And what you can do if you don't feel comfortable with that first script, you could say, hey, I'm Payton Chavis. I just sold the home down the street at 123 Main Street. I wanted to introduce myself. The buyer that purchased your home is moving in this weekend. I'm just going to buy. I want to have a note card that's signed by all the neighbors in the neighborhood, welcoming them to the neighborhood. Do you mind signing your name? And maybe a nice note. That's gonna open the door because there's no sales there. Everybody who's showing up knocking on their door is either selling them something or dropping off a package. But obviously you're standing there and you're professional. They're gonna think you're selling them something. But when you're coming at it with a frame like that, where you're wanting to make the buyer feel comfortable moving into the neighborhood, they're gonna start chatting, and then you can ask those questions that I mentioned in the first script. So keep it short, keep it warm, and then leave a card or leave a door knocker if they don't answer, so you're at least making use of your time. Or you could leave one of those postcards but make it into a door knocker that says, hey, your neighbor's home just sold at 123 Main Street, and curious what your value is. Put that on their door. So out of the 20 doors, 2 or 3 will lead to conversations that might potentially turn into a listing or some type of future business, or somebody to add to your database, or somebody to include in your network that maybe they provide a service that you could send them business. And it just grows the people that you know and grows the network. So you have more people in your database to market to, and it costs you nothing but time. So if you're thinking, oh, well, I don't have the budget for postcards and mailers, You don't really need a big budget, you just need a consistent strategy. If mailers are too expensive and the postage is too expensive, do a regular print off and go leave it at people's doors. Leave it on their front door if that's cheaper than the postage. Or start small. Print 50 postcards at Canva or at your local print shop. The investment is pretty minimal compared to what one listing can actually earn you in commission. So truly consider this because it could bring you great business later. And once you close a listing from this flywheel, reinvest a portion into the marketing for the next one. So that's how the flywheel pays for itself. Done is better than perfect. Start with one postcard, start today, utilize your listings to generate more listings. One listing should always lead to the next. That's not luck, that's strategy. That's what top producers do. Remember, you have your just listed campaign, your open house strategy with neighbor conversations, your just sold mailers, and door knocking after the close. This is a system, and systems create consistent GCI. It's been proven to provide results, so don't recreate the wheel. Do this exact strategy, and consistent gross commission income is what makes real estate feel like a safe, stable, and long-term career instead of a never-ending scramble of wondering where your next deal comes from. So if you want help building this kind of system in your specific market, let's talk. I do free one-on-one calls with agents who are serious about growing their business and scaling. Book yours on the Calendly link in the description below, or DM me on Instagram or Facebook at PK Residential, and let's build your flywheel and let's turn one listing into multiple.